This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello and welcome. A big warm welcome, in fact, to the Bar Stewards Enquiry. This is our first of our 3 midweek podcasts we've got for glorious Goodwood this week. And what's not to like? The sun is shining, the ground will be good to firm, unless, of course, the ghost of Seamus Buckley appears and ruins it all and puts 700 litres on per furlong.
He's not dead, is he?
Well, you know what I'm saying? The ghost of Seamus Buckley, he's lurking, he's Seamus all the time. I'm sure it is. Years of over.
I mean, Hugh Edwards.
Yeah, you Edwards, yeah. BBC Nonsathon. Yeah, how long's that last? Anyway, we're digressing. Joining me tonight on the first one, of course, my sidekick, Jonas Lang, and our double naps king on the former Friday show, Andy Richmond. Good evening, Andy.
Good evening.
Yeah. Without further ado, let's get through this. We've got 4 television races on the Tuesday, with 4 television races on the Wednesday, and we'll be going through them with a tooth comb for you to hopefully nail some value while enjoying the glorious Goodwood meeting. Of course, Goodwood is not pretentious, it's not overpriced, and it's John's favourite track.
Fuck off.
Can't we do the Magnolia Cup?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Who's in it this year?
I've checked this year. There are no double-barreled names in it.
Interesting.
Disappointing.
Maybe not declared. It's like a fucking wind up, Andy. They don't have to declare them, you know.
Yeah, there's no double barrels in there.
Yeah, we'll see.
Liz Batchelor were going to go in for it. Size of them cannons.
7 pound penalties there, isn't there?
I'm going to say, good old Liz.
Get yourself in trouble there.
Let's hope she's carrying 12 stone 7 or something like that. The 150 is the Coral Chesterfield Cup handicap and gets us off to an absolute flyer with Enf Jar as 100 to 30 market leader. However, chaps, I question this price being any good to anyone at all. Andy, what was your take on this?
Well, when I checked, the first thing to note is that the false rail is in. So you're going to get that cutaway. It's down. It's the false rail's till 1.5 furlongs out, and it goes out to 3.5 furlongs from Thursday, and they Thursday, Friday, and take it all down on Saturday. So there'll be some bumper cars, won't there? I wasn't enamoured with the price. I mean, he did win the John Smiths with 3 of these behind? Tony Montana, Dual Identity, Loyal Touch. Dual Identity didn't really get a run through, did he? He's quite nicely drawn with the Shepherd on. I thought 16s was a reasonable price for him. He certainly didn't get the run of the race last time out. Stay Well wasn't far behind on the all-weather when Enf Jar won. There's another one that's quite interesting. Ian Williams with Cheek Pieces first time's got a really good record, and he's whacked them on Track of Time if you fancy one at a big price. Is this I pose this question, is this a pivotal meeting for the young Johnson, the Sporran? Because if he don't get any winners here, he's not had the greatest year, has he? I tell you one little area that he's really poor. The stable used to be, they're poor as a whole, the stable used to be. But following up handicap winners, if you laid the winner, the handicap winners next time out, you'd be quids in this year. Absolute quids in. They hardly ever follow up, which is sort of like the modus operandi. So I couldn't have Wadacre Gomez. I mean, somebody was trying to put up Buick as a sort of significant jockey booking when he's got a very poor record for the stable. He's 0 from 6 from at Goodwood, and he's trying to follow up a win. So I couldn't have that. I think if I had to have a punt at this, I'd go each way. Dual Identity, not badly drawn. Didn't really get the run of the race last time out. Callum Shepherd's been in reasonable form. Thought 16s, if you can get the extended places, wasn't too bad.
I'll come on to this after I've asked John's opinion on why the shit ape at Midland can't seem to get them to back up.
I think it's just been a matter of time in coming, to be honest. I mean, we know for a fact how Mark Johnston's had so many races gifted to him, it's untrue. And to me, he's never been a good trainer. I mean, it's been like the Emperor's new clothes all the time. It's this self-perpetuating myth. He gets loads of races gifted, and everybody assumes he's shit horse. Arabs send him horses. They may be second tier, but obviously they're good enough to get wins out of, and the myth keeps on rolling. But I've never seen anything that makes me think, Jesus, I want to be with that yard.
Yeah, like Andy said, he's having a very tough year.
I've got the numbers in front of me just to sort of gild it. I mean, since Charlie Johnson took over, with a winner last time out bidding to follow up in handicaps only, 25 winners from 156 runners. That's a minus winners above expected figure of 6.09. If you'd have backed them all, you'd be 60 points down. If you'd laid them all at Betfair, you'd be 45 points up.
Wow, some stat. Love the info there, Andy. I mean, it's nice to give punters insight into why the Kilt and the Kilt Junior horses seem to...
I've always sort of labelled them as throw enough shit at the wall and some of it stick.
Yeah, shit apes. So, John, coming to you, what's your take on this race? What have you got a decent opinion for us?
I rather like Crack Shot, believe it or not, was the subject of a bit of a punt in the Hunt Cup. To be careful how you say this, haven't you? Didn't really run much of a race, and then I thought personally it was just too much of a handful for Saffron at York.
Yeah,
he was never going to run for it. We've got the King of Finesse on tomorrow. He's won on this horse before, first time up this year. I think there's plenty of potential here off this mark, as the stable thought at the time of the Hunt Cup. And I do think potentially he could be a good £10 well in. It's up to Spencer to harness it and nurse him into the race. But I think he's got the ideal box to do it. And it's me and it's Goodwood, so be careful, folks. But I think he's a little bit of a good thing tomorrow.
Interesting. No, I like the confidence behind
It's interesting you say, John, that run at Ascot in the Hunt Cup was actually better than it looks.
Yeah.
He got caught in a horrible position. You know, I think it's probably better. It certainly wasn't ideally placed there. So I think you can mark that run up.
I mean, even anybody out there that doesn't fancy this, have a couple of quid on, because it's Jim and Fitchery, and it'll only piss you off watching them get the pot at the end of it.
Superb. Yeah, I like it. I'm with Andy on this. Dual Identity's my best bet of day one, actually. I feel that this was really coolly ridden by the kid, really, this Brandon Wilkie. He got no run for probably about just over a furlong, I made it, when he was just nowhere to go. And whilst that was happening, Tony Montana came down the sort of middle of the track. It was fully rolling into third. I'm pretty certain, had Dual Identity had a clear path, he would have been very close to Tony Montana, or maybe even finish in front of him. And the fact that Dual Identity had the Trap 18 draw, which was a terrible draw as it turned out, Epic Poet went into everyone's notebooks, fifth horse. Everyone's like talking about Epic Poet. So this is a strong race. And the fact Emfjar is 100 to 30, and you've got Tony Montana and Dual Identity at sort of 14 and 16, that doesn't really make mathematical sense. I like the booking of Callum Shepherd for Dual Identity. I think that's a great booking.
He's riding well, isn't he?
He is riding very well this season. And I think 16 to 1 represents quite a bit of value. And I also take, by Andy's point, Killybeg's Warrior. It's one of them. He's well handicapped now, but he's well handicapped for a reason, because he's running absolutely dire. But I suppose if it bounces back and wins, you could say, yeah.
Great piece of training.
You will not be saying that, John.
I'll be saying, fuck this, fuck Goodwood.
Yeah. Most people will after the first day, I think. Right, so the price I didn't get, and I wanted to run it past you before we move on, Real Gain at 8 to 1. I didn't get the price. Am I missing something?
No, because I didn't get it. I didn't get it either.
10 to 21 to Metal Merchant, albeit on the sort of the wrong part of the track, and didn't quite get the run of the race. Then 28 to 29 at Ascot.
Keep fancying him, don't they?
They do. Look in the betting. And I fancied him in the Hunt Cup because of the Newbury run, because I thought he was on the wrong part of the track and didn't get no luck in running. But I'm not so sure anymore if he's that well in. I don't know if he's any more to come. So for that reason, I'm out at that sort of price. I'd expect him to be big. I'd much rather be with Crackshot than him because of what you said about the Hunt Cup run for him.
Yeah.
I think we've done well there because we're not being obvious. We're against Jar at the price. I'm not saying Jar won't win. I'm saying that 100 to 30 makes no appeal given that he had the red carpet at York, a lovely dream trip throughout the race, and I think that's what...
It's not got a great draw either.
No, 13's tricky. Indian Jim's got to work something out from there.
It was one of a group of one that got everything going for him at York, wasn't he, really?
Yeah, I bet it in running because when I saw it after like 2 furlongs, I thought, well, if you fancied it pre-play, it should be half the price, and you still got better than that in running. So I just felt that proves that the horse had an absolute dream trip. So yeah, and that's how it works out. Right, we move on. Hopefully a nice start for us there with one of us a Crackshot, dual identity. I wouldn't lose on Tony Montana either, people, if you're looking at nice prices. 225 race is the Vintage Stakes, not so vintage from my perspective. I'll kick us off. Well, I wanted to be against the top of the market, but they have drifted. The Parthenon was putting at 9-4, ridiculous price. Now 4-1. I'm not so against him at 4s. I was against him massively at 9-4. I didn't like his head carriage a lot at Gowran Park, if I'm honest. And the Appleby run at Amori City, I thought the run at Newmarket was just, for me, okay. Nothing special. I thought there might be something to improve past them. And 2 I was looking at was Cool Hoof Luke, who is a physical, nice specimen, gets on with it, which Goodwood might suit him better than Ascot. I know he's stepping up in trip, which it might be a bit of a worry, but you just get on with it and he'll be up there. And the one that does need 7 is an Outlaw's Grace, the Hannon runner. You could see that on debut at Salisbury's. He got going really late over the stiff 6 there. Then they went to Shanty for the Robert Papa, was 4th behind Arabi, and you could see 2 furlongs out he was struggling to quicken. I think he just needs that extra furlong right now. So, bouncing it across to you, Andy, if you'd any view it.
It's not really my sort of race. I agree with you about the Parthenon. He was a bit short, but then you sort of coming back. You got the Wolf for Kemi Badenoch in here, isn't you?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
I mean, after Fielder last time out winners, you generally needed to have 2 or more runs in here, so that probably rules out Kemi Badenoch at the bottom. Yep. I quite like the form of Amori City. If you look at it as a body of work, it wasn't too bad. Cool Hoof Luke, yeah, I get where you're coming from. The Yogurt Cannon's horse will certainly improve for the step up to 7 furlongs. It's not really my sort of race, so I didn't have a strong opinion on it. If I was going to back anything, it was probably between Cool Hoof Luke and Amori City, because I thought the form of both was reasonable, and I think both would be suited by 7 furlongs, stepping up to 7 furlongs. But as I say, it's a race I can not play in.
John.
Nick Davis.
Yeah, it'd definitely be a no from Nick.
It's a bit of a Davis race.
Yeah, 100%. John, any strong view here?
I think an Outlaw's Grace is a knocking each way bet with a dead 8 at the prices, gagging for the 7th furlong, absolutely gagging for it. The one that you mentioned, Lee, I'm still annoyed with Baldwin that he didn't turn up in the July Stakes. I was looking all over for him. I even looked under the settee. After the Coventry, I marked him up as a July Stakes horse, and now he's gone and done this to me. Well, he can fuck off.
I get your point, John. I think he'd have been tailor-made for the 6 HQ. I like his attitude.
Whistle Jacket would have had a problem passing him, I think.
I think so. I think this horse has got some pretty good tour. Put it this way, they're not going to restrain him here. Stall 8, they'll be quite attacking from the off. Oisin will look to get across. I think try and dominate, hopefully get a breather in at the bend, and then hopefully just try and last home. But that is the doubt, whether he will be able to last home over the 7. But he's an interesting runner, for sure. Okay, moving on to the Lennox, and we are looking at Noble Dynasty, and as market leader, I think, just now from a drifting Kinross, that's drifting and weak. English Oak, I think, is up there. So, John, I'll come to you first this time for your take on this.
It's a bit boring, actually. I think the Noble Dynasty is just fairly, not necessarily straightforward task for it. I do think Kinross is probably hinting he's on the downgrade this year. I'm not convinced English Oak would be as suited to this type of race as Noble Dynasty. I think English Oak has proven well suited to big fail searing pace, and that's been the making of him. And I wouldn't like to say how much further he can go than 108, to be honest. Whereas I think Noble Dynasty is a solid marker horse at his rating. I think he's got the making of the rest pretty straightforward, really.
Completely agree. We'd be claxing in this. Obviously, I've said about dual identity being my bet of the day at the prices, but if I could bank a one on a TV race, this would be the bank, a Noble Dynasty. I think to be the same price, roughly, as English Oak is a complete insult, because he gave a stone to English Oak, beat it at HQ. All right, there was a pace bias. HQ would have suited Noble Dynasty more than English Oak. But on a stone worse terms, as English Oak, like you said, made a stone improvement, maybe. But if it has, is he able to transfer that round a bend at Goodwood, held up out the back? I doubt that very much. Which I think Kinross has lost a bit of its pizzazz. I think it might be a bit harsh. 2 runs over 6, 1 at HQ, which you can forgive. Second to Montesey, but is that his peak form? It might have needed it, but I don't want to slag Kinross off because it's won 2 Lennoxes, should have probably been 3. Its record over 7 furlongs is impressive, but it's got Store late here, probably get dropped in from that draw. And like me and you say, John, we agree that Noble Dynasty should get a nice prominent position behind the trailblazing Pergo audience and just probably slotting in about 3rd place. I can see.
Like sure.
Yeah, in the slot, as we say.
We love it in the slot.
Can't be in the slot. Andy Richmond.
Not sure I'd be as keen as you two are on Noble Dynasty, because
okay,
I like English Oak as a horse, and usually when I'm usually wary of handicappers or big field handicappers stepping up into this group class, because it's the dynamics of the race that usually find them out, in the fact that they don't go as quick and they haven't got that pace to operate off in a big field. But here, you've got Audience, Art, Power and Pogo who may well go forward. Now, I take your argument that Noble Dynasty has already beaten, with a pace bias, English Oak at Newmarket. Has English Oak improved? No. The official ratings would say no, because he's actually the lowest rated of the 8 that go to post here, of 108. Yep. Noble Dynasty's still got loads in. So at the weights, Noble Dynasty is in fact not the best horse in. Well, he is just about. He's actually joined top with Audience if you're taking official ratings as gospel. But I wouldn't want to back Audience in this. He's going to get taken on up front if they ride that way. And as I say, another yard that I think been on the downgrade this year, the Gosdens. I mean, we can discuss that at length as well. Slim. So I would be favouring Noble of the 3 of the sort of big 3 at the top end of the market. I would be favouring Noble Dynasty over English Oak, and I agree with your thoughts about Kinross, who might just be a little bit on the downgrade. It's a bit harsh on him because he has, as you say, Lee. You know, he could have won 3 Lennoxes, but his 2 runs this year have been a little bit below par. I think you can forgive him make excuses the first time. I'm not sure you could make too many excuses last time out. So Noble Dynasty to complete the hat trick for 3, because I think he'll probably get the run of this. And English Oak, Willie, there's just that question mark about him. I think he's still a nice horse. I think he'll still win races, but I would favour Noble Dynasty over English Oak and probably be a layer of Kinross.
I think the shirt, has got Tiber Fleur all wrong all its career. I actually think that Tiber Fleur is a miler, maybe more. Look at the pedigree.
I think he's going to improve. He's got to go up to a miler, maybe 10.
The sire's Caravaggio, whose average median is 8.2 furlongs. The mother won at 7 furlongs as a 2-year-old, which, suggests that, Anna Mile, she was a half-sister to Poet's Word.
Yeah.
And in Sherry, that sort of dam line, Ravens past dam line. I think the shirt has obviously shown a lot of pace as a 2-year-old, and they've thought, wow, this is showing some speed. But the first time they ran it over 7, it did well to win it. We're waiting for Rube, got through late. Obviously, that level of form ain't good enough to win this, the John O'Gaunt. But what I would say, if the shirt listens, think a mile with this. I can't believe they've never.
He's never given it a go at a mile, has he?
Never. It's just kept it at 6. It's been outpaced at 6 in some of its races. Look at a few of its races over 6. Always struggled. He dropped it to 5 one at Sandown in the Coral Charge.
To be fair, Tom gave it a fucking stinker that day.
Oh no!
And all its entries are over 7. It's got it in the Hungerford, the City of York, and the Park State.
Yeah, I think 7's fine. I'm not so sure this 7 because
City of York might sell because that rides long.
Yeah.
The good thing with York is they usually go a good lick. And so over the 7 there, even though it's a flat 7, it's not like the Nunthorpe where they go a good lick and don't stop. The 7 at York, they actually do cut good late because they go hard enough usually. So I like the placings down the line for Cyberflow, but just maybe not this race for the shirt. I think it's the wrong target. Stall 1, you take him back, bit meh really. So that's what I feel about that race. On the finale then, the easiest race of the day, surely. We're all unanimous on Kyprios, aren't we?
Yeah.
I was having a chat with someone earlier about this and it's crap price, and I said, no, it's not. We're talking like 7-4 on, 15-8 on. I'd be 2-5 this as a raw price. If it was 3s on, we might look elsewhere for some value. But 8-15, if somebody says, right, you've got to lay a 1,500 to win 8, or you've got to have the 1,500 to win 8, I'm having the 1,500 to win 8. The Mad Woman's got Sweet William in John. What do you think about that?
I just like seeing her interview.
It's anything but squeeze, isn't he, really? I mean, he's an out-and-out cunt now.
It's Coltrane.
Coltrane ran about as well as Robbie Coltrane with a running.
He's dead.
John's comments on one of the shows, I can't remember what show it was, but he said, he just come out with it. He says, "Isn't anyone fucking bored of just watching True Shannon Coltrane run round over two?"
And it's sickening, isn't it? It's absolutely sickening. I'm sick of the fate of all the bloody lot of them.
She'll be there, Mad Woman, though. She's,
yeah. Come on, Rob.
Gregory, her old horse, is in there as well.
We're on the Lionel, bitch.
Any other business? I've got no other business.
JM Jungle in the 410, the same stable that's won this the last 3 years with Lord Ridderford. I'm not sure he's quite as good. Mercury Day, I really like in the 520. That's got a really good chance. And I think the 3-year-olds probably win this. Probably win the last. Either Dance and Romance or Balmoral Lady. Look at Ed Walker's record with his 3-year-old sprint handicap is really, really good. She's a little bit out of the handicap, but she might outrun her price. There you go.
Good stuff. See any other business? Before we move on to Wednesday, just them best bets tie you down because some punters like to maybe perm some multiple bets with some of our best bets. I'm going to say my best bets on day one are Noble Dynasty in the Lennox and Dual Identity in the Chesterfield. John, where would your best bets lie?
Chesterfield Cup horse with Spencer.
Yeah, Crackshot. Yeah.
And the Hannon horse in the
that would be
Grace Downs, what the 2-year-old.
An Outlaw Grace.
Yeah,
the Midland Park horse. Okay, that's John's too. Andy, your best bet or bet?
Treat yourself into a little each way multiple. Dual Identity, JM Jungle, and Mercury Day. With the extended places, have a little bit on those.
Perfect way to end day one at Goodwood with some multis, etc. and our best fancies. Right, on to Wednesday. The opening stakes is the Coral Daily Rewards Shaker handicap. Coral Daily Rewards, what are them? I ain't seen a Coral Daily Rewards since 1998.
I haven't seen a Coral account.
What's the reward shaker? Is that some form of masturbation now?
Yeah, it's pretty well betting back. I had a man that got obviously a nervous twitch, and when his horse was challenging at final furlong, he had his hand in his pocket, and he's going up and down. It genuinely looked like he was.
When I saw this race title, I was thinking, well, what is this? Do you have a Coral loyalty card? And you go into a shop and somebody will give you a hand job or something.
I think, John, from the advert if you have a Coral account, if you shake your mobile phone, you get some form of reward.
Hang on, that is treating the general public like shit apes, isn't it, John? Can you imagine just sat there like shaking your phone like some absolute fucking idiot?
Well, if I started shaking this gas-powered Nokia, that's how it's all about.
So the 150, right? So it's the mile and a half handicap, usually a potential Melrose trial race. Certainly a race to look at for the Melrose. And my Melrose horse is actually 9-2 Fav. However, I am not putting him up as a bet. It's a horse called Subsequent, owned by John's favourite owners, the Hayes. And this horse definitely needs a mile and 6. He was ready for a mile and 6 at Salisbury. The form is rock solid because he's beat Spaceport, and Spaceport came out and beat Cock and Bull easily the other day at Sandown. So it's all looking good for Subsequent.
You're still happy with the 91 going into the Melrose then? Or...
I'm happy with the 91 on the Melrose. I'm not happy with 91 in this.
Well, no, gives a fuck about this. It's all about the Melrose anyway, isn't it? So...
It is. And I think this is a trial. I reckon this will be a running on, maybe powering home late fourth.
Not knocked about.
Well, possibly.
You'd love to see a not knocked about, wouldn't you, really?
Yeah. This has been my Melrose horse for a while, and I think the Goodwood track will not suit him. And 9-2, I would not be going anywhere near. He might win.
You've got 2 wins there. I mean, my Melrose horse at the minute keeps getting stuffed all over the place and trying to savage people, so... So you're in pole position at the moment.
My selection here was French Duke, who I am told has worked in the hood and been a little bit calmer than he was at Ascot. He got a revolting ride at Ascot, as John can testify, much to his annoyance, as John really liked him for that Ascot race. In fact, I'll probably go as far as to say, John, he probably shaped like the best horse in the race, in that Ascot race, and for that reason...
Sounds about right, me on for 5 places.
Yeah, I am with him on the Wednesday. He's contracting a little bit into 11-2, which makes me a little bit... French Duke hooded for the first time. Goodwood Odyssey blinkered for the first time. He's got a lot of ability. I think he needs the blink because he wandered all over the place at Newmarket for Sergeant Wilson. D'Souza could be the man to get him to apply his energies better and ability. If the blinkers work with him, he's also very interesting. Andy, your thoughts?
I think you just summed it up. French Duke for Roger Vegetables.
Yes.
Won this race with similar type in Nagano in 2021. That run last time out, he actually did really well to finish 6th. I thought, it was a horrible ride, wasn't it? It just looked like the standout to me. I thought he might be favourite for this, but I would be 11-2, 6-1. Yeah, I'm with French Duke for the reasons stated. I don't think we need to go into that any further because you've already stolen words out of my mouth.
Sorry, mate.
That's all right. That's not a problem.
I'll let you first in on Molecomb.
Oh, thank you. Jesus.
I know. John, we've touched on why Subsequent is a Melrose horse, but not a mile and a half horse. Are you sort of unanimous with the Duke?
I won't lose on the Duke.
Okay.
But I've got a massive Dutch here. An Edam cheese the size of the moon, in fact.
Oh.
And that would be French Duke for reasons previously explained. The Fitriana here owned Clockmaker.
I thought you'd say this.
This is hugely interesting. Went straight into my notebook after debut behind Hidden Law. Anyone remember him? He's dead now, but we did like him while he was alive.
Yes, he won the Chester Vase.
The interesting part about this horse is probably run number 2. Took keen hold, held up in rear, shock, horror, Simcock. Some headway 3 out, soon hung left, weakened over 1 out. Trainer's rep said regarding the poor form shown that the gelding was unsuited by the ground, described as good to soft, soft in places, which changed to soft following this race and would prefer a faster surface. So what does our chap Simcock do? He goes to front end Crazy Leicester on good to soft and drops him to 10 for the final qualifying run for a handicap rating. 80 is fucking sick for this.
Yes. Do you know what? I was close to sort of saying this is my bet in the race, but I'm going to bowl you a curveball here. I'm very worried about him going up to 12 and settling. He's still quite rabidly keen in his races. That's my only issue with him. Other than that, you're absolutely spot on. 80 is ridiculous.
The King of Finesse will settle him tomorrow. I've no doubt. He was very, very raw on debut. He was a bit of a mess on the ground. I'll concede that on the second run. And I think a race like this that's competitive, I mean, he's running 3 races where they're absolutely dawdled early on. I honestly, I don't have a problem with him settling here. I'll be astonished if he doesn't settle.
That makes, I mean, the 25 to 1 currently available absolutely
It's
huge.
insane.
Which I agree with you completely. Because that 10 furlong Leicester maiden to boot, the winner, Ombudsman, I'm pretty certain is going to be Group 2, Group 1. It's a thumping animal.
I think it's also significant as well, Ray, that the team here have 3 runners here, and Spencer was jocked up for this years ago. There was no question what Spencer was riding.
I think 25s will not be there come post time. So a message to our listeners there to make sure you take advantage of that, because I agree with John totally. I've been watching this the same as John. I'll be honest, John has no concerns about settling. I have concerns about settling over the 12, but we'll see on that.
But you might have to geld him again.
The thing is, it's all right saying, oh, you've got concerns about an horse settling, but it's 25 to 1 or 25 to 1. It's not a 5 to 1 shot or a 4 to 1
shot. It's
shot.
factored into the price, isn't it?
It is. It's monster value.
I mean, honestly, if this settles and doesn't hit the first 4, I would advise everybody to camp outside Jamie Spencer's house and throw rotten tomatoes at his cleaner when she leaves on the mark.
Has he got a cleaner then?
He'd be odds on to have a cleaner, wouldn't he?
He's not doing it, is he?
Exactly.
Well summed up. Right, I love that. I love the analysis. Me and Andy French Duke, John French Duke, but also his main bet, his clockmaker. And what more can we say? I completely concur with the reasons offered, except the one worry is, of course, settling. And John will remind me if this pisses up what a cunt I am.
I'm sure you'll remind me what a cunt I am.
Yeah, that. We'll have some fun on Wednesday then with that. Definitely.
I'm going out for the day.
I'll not get hold of you.
I'm going to watch you on the radio.
225. So the Oak Tree, the 3-year-old fillies. This will be a Davis no race. Andy, can you lead us off with something here?
I'm going to play the Davis amendment. This is just not my sort of race.
I don't blame you.
We've been down this road before, and we'd be Goodwood. There's 5 days of it. You could get it into 2, and I reckon I could probably get it into 1.5. There are so many. I'm not saying this is a crap race, but there are races you just want to leave alone, aren't there? You know, the two best festivals are Royal Ascot and York. There's not many races you really. I mean, there's probably races you should leave alone at those 2 meetings, but there's not many races you want to leave alone and don't have an opinion on. And this is just one. This is just one of these. I look at it every year and just think, no.
Yeah, do you know? I don't blame anyone doing this for this race, but I've seen some.
The light.
Like dead people. What's that film? Sixth Sense. I see dead people. That one. I have. I've seen something here.
I thought you were going to say you'd seen the light from.
Well, no, I've never seen the light. It's not going to happen. So, Fair and Angelica for Richard Hughes. I found this very interesting because I like her very much physically. She's an absolute brute of a beast. She's enormous. Real big filly. And what I liked, that Finley Marsh had rode her in 3 starts this year, mixed sort of success, but that's Finley Marsh. He's very average. Ryan Moore got on her for the first time at Deauville. I watched the replay on France Gallup, which many people can't be asked to do, and she was incredibly impressive. Through the line, she'd absolutely pissed on these. Whilst I'm not saying that is incredible form, the time backs it up. The time was good. And the fact that Ryan can be asked to get on her again, I think speaks volumes, because Ryan Moore's not one to just ride anything. You don't see him on many unfancied horses, and I reckon he's really liked her, Deauville, and there is nothing not to like. If that video was, say, available on the Racing Purse and people didn't look at France, whatever, I think more and more people would latch on to Fair and Angelica after that Deauville win. She was very mighty impressive. Physically, she can progress through the ratings, and I am very keen to support her around the 6-1 mark. And Goodwood suits because she goes forward. She goes nice and handy. She don't reef and pull. She just gallop. I like it. 7 furlongs Goodwood. Ryan Moore going forward. What's not to like, John Lang?
Here's the theory. We've got a varying horse looking, to all intents and purposes, as though she's a solid favourite.
Yeah.
We don't like this, do we?
She ran well in Falcon.
Well, what I mean is we don't like the varying horses when they look like this.
No,
because
exactly
it's not
that.
happening, is it?
No, they don't back
So
up.
this is a good opportunity for Fair Angelica because we want to be taking these on as the season has proven. I've lost count of the times the varying horses come into races with this type of profile, and you're thinking, yeah, only has to repeat, and they simply do not repeat whatnot, and it's helping the market.
And Trap 10 as well, which
Trap 10
doesn't inspire.
Now you've got Brian Me and horse that looks as though it's possibly going the wrong way. There's a tongue tie going on. I think there's plenty of shit at the front end of the market here for Fair Angelica to be a fairly solid investment. And that's me in a fillies race, for fuck's sake. So
John's in the zoo chucking shit at all the punters for making Jabbar a favourite. Fair Angelica, if you get a chance, register with France Gallop, take a look at the last Deauville run, and I think you'll like what you see there in the oak tree. The next race, this is me saying no. I've watched every runner. In fact, I've watched every runner's all the starts, right? And I still couldn't come up with a bet. It's like, what is this? I predict there's probably going to be about 4 or 5 lengths between the lot of them at the line, like literally in a big heap. I just couldn't make head and tail of it. So, John, help.
I think if somebody put a gun to my head and said you have to sort one out here, I would probably look for a bit of value and play King's Call of Kevin Ryan's dropping back in trip because he was slightly on the keen side on debut. He looked a little bit slack pre-race. I think that would tighten him up nicely. I think the potential for improvement at 5 furlong pace is there. And he doesn't have that much to find on the base figures, considering that was a debut. That brings him a little bit higher than the racing post got him out of him coming out with maybe a stone to find on Asterius. Asterius has had 3 runs. Not saying he can improve a stone, but I think he'll be within a length or 2 of Asterius at worst.
Yeah. Jockey downgrade? How many Abbeys and all sorts of you won? The Sprint King.
Danny Tudhope is all set fair to win the fucking Eber. So Tom Eaves can go fuck himself with his Abbeys.
Sprint King Tom Eaves, John.
Yes.
Off. Andy, I reckon you're another Davis here.
No.
Oh.
Well, it's disappointing there's no Yogurt Cannon runner because he's done pretty well in this race. He won it in 21 and 22, so no Yogurt Cannon. I did think that I quite like this filly, Celadine, down the bottom. I think she almost comes at well. She does come out best at the weights, really, once you take into account the allowance. I liked her run last time out. I think she's definitely got a chance. And the other one I quite liked, of a stable that's been in decent fettle lately, the Crisford, posh stable, with Soldier's Heart. I think that he's an offspring of Havana Grey, who won this, 7 years ago?
Yeah, it will be.
And I think he's shown a lot of speed, this horse, and bringing him back to 5. I mean, he ran on the all-weather at Lingfield, he's early on his first start, showed a lot of speed, found a subsequent listed winner in Al Quadra. That was too strong in the closing stages. Think he might just have a little bit of a chance here, the Soldier's Heart. I think he's a little bit of value. So sort of take one from either side, Soldier's Heart and Celadine, because I want to take on the favourite Asterius, because I think there might be a few lurkers here. I might even have a small lay on Asterius, although he has got the best form. As I say, how much further can he improve? And there's a few lurkers here, and obviously I'd respect John's opinion about King's Call. So I'd take on Asterius, and if you didn't want to do that, maybe sort of pseudo Dutch against Asterius with Celadine, Soldier's Heart, and John's King's Call.
Good stuff, mate.
The small
Right.
beans, obviously.
Yeah, of course. I think the listeners can gauge that we're not bouncing on that race.
No, not
Yeah.
at all.
Come on to the Sussex then. So we've got a fascinating encounter. That's the 3:35 race. Rosalian, of course, heads the list at even money, and rightly so. The Guineas win a notable speech 9-2. Henry Longfellow mowed down late by Rosalian at Ascot, second in at fours. Factor Cheval, the French runner, around the 14-1 mark, I believe. Majloon 20s for the shirt. John, I'll come to you first for your take on this.
I think there's every chance this could be messy.
Yeah.
If I was the yogurt cannon, I'd never divorce Zoe Bird. Also, I would be instructing Sean Levy to make the run. I think this is ripe for disaster, in all honesty. And I think if he lets Ryan have his own way on the front end, this could be problem on top of problems. He's going to have to drop in if he doesn't go forward from 6 in a field of 6. If they go as slow as they might, this isn't Henry Longfellow stopping in the last 100 yards at Ascot. This is Henry Longfellow keeping going right to the post. I do not like Rosalian coming from the back here. It's going to be an ask.
Interesting. Andy, you do Trader's Corner for Barstew's Edge. This could be a little trade for you, you're thinking here.
It could be with Henry. I'm pretty sure they'll go forward. I've got a feeling that they might try this over 10 furlongs in time, Henry Longfellow. I think he's a 1.25 mile horse. And as John said, sometimes it is a little bit too hard. It is hard to get past horses here. So if he doesn't go forward, Rosalian could be in a whole world of pain. I mean, this is round 3 of Rosalian versus Notable Speech. But it's almost a rerun of the St James's Palace, isn't it? Where I thought Rosalian got an absolute belting ride. But can he pull that off again? Round a bend here, I'd sort of favour, at the prices, I'd favour trying to trade Henry Longfellow. Because as much as I think Sean Levy and the Yogurt Cannon would like to go forward on Rosalian, I can't see him doing it. So I think they'll drop him in, try and ride him for a bit of speed and try and beat Henry Longfellow. And Henry Longfellow might, on this occasion, just have the legs on him. And what price is Henry Longfellow?
Round about 4-1, I think.
I think that's a decent trade, because I'd be amazed if he doesn't trade half that price if he goes on. And I can't really see a lot of pace in the race. So I think Henry Longfellow would be the trading angle on this, if not the ultimate winner, because Rosalian might do it. I mean, it looks between the 3-year-olds, isn't it? The last winner we had aged over 4 was back in 2018 with Lightning Spear, so they hold a strong hand.
At the 4-day stage, I was hoping to get a bet on Majloon, actually, but the shirt's kind of undone me, really, because he shot the blinkers on. Because I was quite satisfied with how his season was going, to be honest. And then I think it's a bad sign he's gone for the blinkers, which might fizz this horse up a bit, especially if they don't go a good clip. So, and plus there isn't 8 or more running, so that sort of scuppered me. Get me a little plan for that one, you know.
Andy, whilst I give my sort of opinion on this, will you just run a query if you've got your thing open? Haggis first time blinkers.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yep. So my opinion here is I want to gauge your opinion on Factor Cheval. I think this is ridiculous at 14-1. I think it's an amazing piece of value. John, is Rosalian better than Paddington?
I think they'll be about on a pair.
Okay. Right. So Factor Cheval was a length and a half behind Paddington in this race last year. Sharon was 3 lengths further back in third. Factor Cheval's last time, when it was beating the Queen Anne, tracked the other frog horse, Big Mistake, Big Rock, as they went far side, was marooned in the centre. You can completely strike that run. Prior to that, beat the Japs in Maidan, and we know how potent the Dukes are for the Japs. So what price off the back of that is Factor Cheval if it comes straight here? Measured time, the 4th horse, won at Saratoga in the Grade 1, beating Nation's Pride, running to a rating post rating of 120. That finished 4th. Why is Factor Cheval 14-1 when it was 7-2 to win a Queen Anne?
Because the bookies have a similar level of respect for the frogs that Hitler had in 1939.
It's the bet of the day for me. 14-1. I know we're dealing with tactics, and Maxime Guillon might make a right mess of it, and like you say, not be in the right place. But run of the race aside, 14 to 1 is absolutely, and I have to swear with, fucking ludicrous. Major value.
I think he's solid for his rating, though.
Yeah. Rated £2 behind the 3-year-olds, and it's
Yeah,
14
I
to
mean,
1.
there's 4 of these. There's not a midget's dick between them, is there?
This is an horse that's finished beaten ahead by Anmart of Owen Burrows, second to Paddington, third to Sauterne. It's just bonkers that this is 14 to 1. This is top class older horse form and worthy of an 120 rating.
Mm-hmm.
These 3-year-olds, as we've seen with 3-year-olds taking on the elders, they've not lit the torch this season for 3-year-olds against older horses in what we've seen so far this summer. I have no idea why it's that price. I would be 6 as top, and that's the truth. 6 to 1 max. 14 to 1 needs absolutely hammering. That's my view. Andy, the stats.
Shirt, first time blinkers, any race on the flat since 1997, 40 winners from 286 runners. That is a wax figure of minus 0.64, so basically about par. But if you'd have backed them all, you'd be doing 31 points. So you tend to get a little bit over bet, probably.
And of course, so what's Sonny Liston doing in it? I mean, that horse is just a last to first horse in big field handicap, or maybe you'd rather back Sonny Liston in a Lockinge, wouldn't you, than this, where you run over the mile there, the straight mile, and then just come fast and late. Right, we've got some opinion there. Henry Longfellow to trade from Andy and John. That looks a real sensible play, if I'm honest. Myself, massive value on Facteur Cheval around the 14 to 1 mark. So, the Not Totally Shit podcast, we've come up with some decent selections on this show. So, Andy, any other business?
No, I don't really think so. I did quite like Ella Donna in the 410, another fillies handicap for Ryan Moore and the Skeleton, Mr. Fanshawe. That was about it, really. The last race, the 520, there's a horse I do like in there, Billy Joe, but he's got not a great draw. So that last race on the Wednesday looks a real mess. That keep out of it. There might be one for our friend of the show, Mr. Minutiae, and that with Metaverse, but wasn't really a race I liked. I wasn't as keen on anything on the undercard as I was on the first day.
On the first day, good stuff. Right, so let's round up our best bets for the Wednesday for listeners to maybe put together some multis or stronger stakes. John, what is your best bet or bets on the Wednesday?
Clockmaker and French Yoke in the first.
Clockmaker and French Yoke, Dutch for John at 25s and around the 11 to 2. Cracking Dutch that and a cracking case made, John. Superb. Andy?
French Duke in that first race, but I will be playing Clockmaker. So
yeah, John's convincing
case. And the trade on Henry Longfellow, I think, probably stands out with because I can't see Ryan not going forward here.
No.
Hopefully, Aidan won't have a moan up about the going.
Yeah. I thought Aidan sort of lost the plot a bit Saturday.
Both the sort of clock, the clock certainly doesn't agree with him, does it? But
no.
But I still like him.
Oh, yeah. We've max respect for him on the show, but he's one of them. I just think he's probably emotion, probably upset that the horse has not done the biz. We all get like that if things don't go our way. So for me to finish the show, it would be Facteur Cheval at a ridiculous price. I would probably try and play some places on that because it might get tactical. But I also think he's got a lot of tactical speed because he's done well in slowly run races in France. Off, you know how they race, and he's got that ability to quicken up as he did in the Sussex last year, coming from last into second, chasing
He could run like a French racer,
and that could suit him because against Paddington, he had no right to chase home Paddington, held up off a crawl last year in the race. So a slow pace doesn't worry me in terms of him running well, but he might not be able to win off a crawl. That's the sort of worry. So Facteur Cheval for me, covering the pegs.
Where's Charin anyway? What's going on there?
Don't know. Turned up in the Queen Anne, pissed up, and then, not to be seen. I've not read anything. I don't know where he is. But obviously, Facteur Cheval thumped Charin in this last year. So, look, it's where I'm at. 14s is rather big. So, I hope you enjoyed that, folks. Myself, John, and Andy certainly did. We enjoy doing these pods for you. And give us some feedback on Patreon and via Twitter when it goes live in the morning. And let us know what you think to our selections and any fancy you've got yourselves. That's all from us. Bye for now.